Dan, first of all, thank you is in order because I'm here in Melbourne in part because Dan has kept pushing me over the years
Oh yeah, I've been telling you to come down.
to come down here. No, just do the circuit abroad and
Yeah,
start somewhere.
yeah,
So finally, I'm here. It's taken a lot of effort and
yeah.
and money to
And
fucking
money, dude. Yeah, it's about time, isn't it? I mean, we've been talking about this for so
yeah,
long that, especially with English comics, there is a
yeah,
certain ceiling in India
yeah,
that you tend to hit, and after which you need to go abroad, expand your horizons. And I think there is a very big market for Indian comedy internationally. So good on you, man.
yeah.
And thanks so much for coming on episode 25 of the podcast. We are here in Melbourne, and we are we having a good time?
Debatable, but yeah, it's an experience.
It's largely a very humbling experience. So when you're doing festival shows, especially when you're producing them by yourself, and there are like 800 other comedians, man, it is a hustle.
800, huh?
800 comedians are in the city right
In
now.
a city which is about like a few million
Yeah,
population,
yeah,
like number of people I have in Kandivali back
yeah.
home, and they're all coming to watch shows, which is
They're
great.
all watching shows. Yeah,
Yeah,
and the festival shows, they're up and down. Some days you have a really great audience, the response is amazing, and other days it's a little quieter than
mm,
usual, which is why I always try and get on other spots. So I did a few nights at the Comics Lounge, because no
yeah.
matter what happens at your festival shows, when you go to a comedy club to do a spot, it's always going to be a banger
Different. Yeah, yeah.
room. Did you get a chance to do some spots as well?
I did a few at the Expert Hotel, the after
Yep,
party, the
yep,
great room,
yep.
bar gig, and exactly what you said. Like some of the smaller shows I've done spots at, like open mics, not
Right,
only here, other cities in Australia also.
right,
They're mild mannered response from the audience. Not only for even for other comics, they come,
right.
they have a good time, but they are
Yeah,
not laugh out loud and a clapping
yeah,
audience. I thought maybe that's the culture here, but then I went to Expert and it
yeah.
was fucking banging, dude.
No, what I've noticed at comedy festivals is that the audience are more of sampling.
Mm.
They're sampling and saying, okay, let's see what this show's about. Let's see what that show's about. So they aren't necessarily 100% invested as, let's say, a regular club night at a comedy club. So you'll get a mixed bag in terms of responses. But like I said, some nights are banging, then some
Mm.
nights are quieter than others. But that's
And in the comics lounge, the big show, so
yeah.
they know what they come for. So,
Yes, those are very cultured comedy audiences.
ah.
Whereas with the festival audiences, you get a mixed bag. So you don't know who's going to be in the audience, but it's fun. I mean, I want to make it a point to come down here every year if I can. Yeah.
But you do then miss the shows back home, no? Because it's Murphy's Law. The moment you're here, people want you back there.
Yeah. But I think that's what I was talking to Azim yesterday as well.
Mm.
That's what we want to do, right? Eventually, we want to be able to do a certain number of shows in India
Yeah.
and then a certain number internationally. So I want to spend a certain amount of time outside the country. And it's good to get out of the country, to see what real development looks like. Real Vikas. Yeah. So right now we are recording this podcast in real Vikas. Yeah, amongst real Vikas. So on that note, as I said, every episode features a guest who wants to bitch about something that's on their mind.
Yes.
And tonight is no different. So Punit, what would you like to bitch about today?
So there's one topic which I don't talk about in my stand-up is
Mm-hmm.
the no, my experience traveling by air in India, like flying across India.
Okay.
Because in one of my own sets, I said that comics keep talking about these jokes and it is very elitist. So now I have
Right.
to play by my own rules.
Right.
But that doesn't mean there's no more content there. There's a lot of content there and there's a lot of fucking frustration
Right.
the moment you enter the airport in India.
Yeah.
So I thought, what other place to do it than dance podcast? Because you travel as much as I do,
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
more.
I think that's the thing with us, right? Like air travel is our commute,
Yeah,
right?
it's
Like
become like that.
what a civilian would probably take an Uber. For us, that's a flight.
Yeah, and there's not even a flex you have to, otherwise you can't
You
fucking
you,
reach.
you you can't get to your gigs, yeah.
Yeah.
And we get to see a lot of stuff. Yeah, a lot of stuff that makes your blood boil. So what? Tell me what is it about flying that pisses you off?
There's one is dude at the entry with that fucking Digiyatra thing they got going on, the scam that make you register for
Hey, I like Digiyatra. Do you not like it?
dude, a private company owns it. You don't know where the fucking data is going. and they're scamming people into signing up for it.
Right.
So that I know it's convenient
Mm-hmm.
and you go through quickly,
Yeah.
but the way they are sort of cornering you into having it is very insidious, because the next step is going to be social engineering, like they have in China.
Right.
They just push a button, you can't fly anymore.
The point system.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's getting there.
Yeah.
And there have been cases where the RPF is apparently involved in this, and they have a screen there and they tell you, यहाँ पे sign, ये click करो, and then you're like, क्या click करो? Then he let you go. If you ask many questions, if you don't, you just click it. नीचे in the smallest of font is written कि you consent to your biometrics being this. It's just so fucking cheap.
Yeah. Although I find it is a conundrum, right? So when we travel internationally, for example, even Singapore,
Yeah.
they don't have immigration for their citizens. They just walk right
Yeah,
through. So it's biometrics again.
Yeah.
So I think when it happens in another country, we are very comfortable with the process. So initially, even when you land in a country like Singapore, you have to manually fill out a form and stuff like that. And now everything is digital. And if you're a citizen of the country, I think you just walk through the gate.
Yeah.
There's nobody who checks.
But even here in Australia, no security, right? You can walk up to almost the security check in any, and it's unthinkable.
Yeah. So eventually, what this boils down to is trust.
Yeah, and they don't have borders. They're fucking lucked out that way.
So, like, I think with Indians struggle to trust the government, struggle to trust the management of data.
Yeah, absolutely. If you could, then it would be simpler, like you're saying, for sure.
Because I've used Digiyatra, and honestly, I find it quite convenient because you don't have to keep showing, one hand, here's your ticket, then you show the ID card, they scan your face, you get in, and you just walk through right to the gate.
Yeah.
I mean, it works. I'm okay with that, Punit. I don't know if I agree as much. See, all the people that we are worried about, who are going to misuse our data and cause trouble for us, they're going to die in a few years. I mean, let's be. How many more elections are they going to win? Time.
That's the only hope we have.
Time heals all wounds.
My next peeve is the lounge experience, dude. Like now I bought this fucking expensive car. Now I have to use it. घर पे खाना है, पर फिर lounge में खाने का. मेरा भी चुतियागिरी इसमें भी.
Yeah.
But once you go to the lounge, there's a huge line as if it's fucking free food inside. And then have you seen how people try 7 cars before they get in? Like, and they're ready. Like, they prepared at home कि after this next card will be
playing deck, right?
Yeah.
अभी ये वाला.
ये मेरा 3 का चाल है. ये 2 है और मेरे पास. And this shameless, the people lining up behind, and there's no shame. And then what the best thing that happens is once finally a card does go through.
Right.
Then the pin he can't remember. Then he's calling home. अरे पूजा इसका पिन क्या था इसका? बच्चों को बोला था लिख के रखने का. ये सब हो रहा है. While you're waiting and your flight time is approaching.
Do you always sit in the lounge?
If I'm a little early, yeah. Or the thing is, I try to save time that way because I got stuff to do in the day. So I'll just grab a quick bite and a coffee from there and head
Get
off
to the airport early. Yeah. I usually use lounge access only if I have like at least an hour to kill because I don't want to waste it for like just 15 minutes. So I prefer just, I don't like waiting inside an airport. So I time myself in such a way that I walk straight to the gate. Which is such a strange thing to do when you live in a city like Bangalore. Like that's confidence to be able to be like, I'm going to reach just in time for takeoff. But I remember this one time I missed a flight and then the next flight was 6 hours later.
Yeah.
So when you have 6 hours to kill, the lounge
helps.
Definitely helps. Free food, it's comfortable, and there's plug points. Yeah.
Hey, there are no plug points here, dude. Like you go to a restaurant, I don't see them charging the phone here. Like, what is it? Like they don't see reels or what?
I think mainly, like if you notice, even in the hotel rooms, the plug points are not at a convenient location.
Yeah.
So even here right now, my plug point is at the table. There's no plug point by the bed.
Yeah.
So I think that's another tactic to save money. Others people tend to just leave their chargers plugged in.
Is that it? Yeah.
And stuff. I'm supposed everything comes down to cost at the end of the day. So
yeah. Because I have not seen Australians charging their fucking phones. Maybe we use the phone too much.
Yeah. And battery pack, no? People have battery packs that they can... Okay. I have a battery pack as well.
Fuck, you're prepared. It's like born identity. Like in and out last minute.
It's just that when you're on the move for as long as we've been on the move, it just helps to be prepared, right? So I always make sure I leave the house with my phone completely charged, battery pack completely charged, extra cable, stuff like that. Because... Dude, for me, my biggest worry whenever I travel by air is not having in-flight entertainment. Like for me, dude, I can't sit on a plane, dude. If I don't have something to watch when I'm flying, then I'm sorry. Then the plane needs to, like, I don't know, be grounded or diverted to another airport, stuff like that.
And
So I'm
you're
very,
largely flying Indigo, right? Back home,
I
at
fly
least.
Indigo, yeah.
Do you prefer aisle or what is your thing? Is it
My thing on an aircraft is aisle.
aisle? Yeah.
Aisle is nice. If not aisle, then window.
Window.
But if you're not that lucky, then middle.
Yeah.
But I'm okay. Most of the flights are
But then
short.
aisle, isn't it like always someone's fucking nudging past you and then you're a tall guy?
But there are rules, no?
Huh.
So if you have the aisle
Huh.
or the window, right? So I think you put your arms in the front, right? And the person who's sitting in the middle gets the back. So you
These are rules.
That's etiquette. That's
Etiquette,
that's the etiquette I follow. So if I'm sitting in the middle, then I lean back and just put my arms here. But if I'm in the front, then I give that other person space. But if you're like sitting next to a slim person, then it's fine. The trouble is when it's a slightly larger person. My favorite though, when I'm flying, is when you get the whole row.
Yeah.
That's what I call Garibo ka middle business class. Garibo ka middle class. You get the whole, you get all 3 seats, which I did now on my flight to Melbourne. I flew from Bangalore, a long ass 12-hour flight.
You got a direct one, Air India.
No, Qantas. So I was really lucky to get all 4 seats to myself.
4 seats, the middle one.
In the middle, in the middle section.
Oh, you fucking slept all the way.
Plane. Yeah, but it's not as fun as I thought it would be, right? So I thought, okay, I'm going to just once it's lights out, I'll just stretch out and go to sleep. But when you stretch out, right, and then the other passengers in front of you recline their seats, so it gets kind of claustrophobic. So now suddenly you're just like, you're kind of, you feel like I'm boxed in. And then the most hilarious thing happened because behind me, there was this old Punjabi couple, right? They were traveling, and I don't know why, but the husband, the uncle was like really restless throughout the entire flight, and I'm fast asleep, dude, like proper sleep. And every time he has to get up, he did that thing where he pulls the whole seat back. And I'm just like, dude, like that's not, like just get up like a normal person. No, he pulls the whole seat back, so you keep going like this. So he did that a couple of times, and again, usually like you tell somebody off, but I had to be like, oh yeah, okay, fine. Is probably going to see their children in Melbourne who have sorely disappointed them by not keeping in touch, so much so that they had to fly down to be like, yo, why haven't you called? So I was guessing, like, making up these scenarios in my head as to why they were traveling. And then it seemed like he had a bone to pick with me for some reason. As I was asleep in the middle of the night, he leans over and starts talking to me in Punjabi.
Talking to you in Punjabi?
He talked to me in Punjabi, dude, and the only thing I know in Punjabi is "main dardi rab kar di." I don't know anything else, and I don't know what he was trying to say. And then eventually my sleep got disturbed. So I said, okay, fine, let me just watch something. And as I'm watching something, he gets up, goes around, and then he occupies the other seat on the other end on in my row, and then slowly extends his legs and tries to sleep.
What?
Yeah, which was so weird. Like it's called. He almost tried to cuddle me. I swear. I swear.
So, but then were you scissoring at one point?
No. My catchy was closed. Catchy was closed. I was like, bro.
Oh man.
So it got a little weird for a bit. Then I managed to get my bag up and on the next seat, and I'm like, and then he also felt what I felt. He's a tall person as well. I'm also a tall person, so he felt what I felt. Where you feel claustrophobic, you feel damn weird. You can't sleep as well. Like I'm envious of short people. Like this is the only time I'm really envious of short people. Where on flights or even you're traveling by car, have you seen they just put their feet up on the seat? Like, how dare you get so comfortable while you're commuting, right? Like, I can never put both my feet up, and it's just the baggage here. It's so,
and people will notice with the short person. Sometimes don't even notice that they got their feet up.
Exactly. It was just, eventually they get their feet so high up that they just look like a torso, and they're so comfortable and they're sleeping so well. Like I see this happen on flights, and that really pisses me off. Like the audacity to be short and comfortable when you travel is something I cannot wrap my head around.
There's a product for short people on the flights I saw recently. There's like a hammock for your feet.
Okay.
So you put it around the seat in front of you, and so your feet will not dangle, and they can just be
So
in.
you just stretch out like
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
This is
And
shameless.
if you noticed, all the seats they have a small sort of a hook, and
Okay. Yeah.
so I don't know what
Yeah.
that is for, but you
Yeah.
can use it for the hammock.
Right. Damn it. Short people have it really good.
Have you ever seen anywhere else outside the country people getting off soon as the flight lands, like they do in our case, like they're running for their life?
It no. And when it happens, it's only Indians. And this is my whole gripe when I travel internationally is that Indians tend to keep doing things that embarrass all of us. Have you noticed this?
Yeah.
Like on this flight, my flight to Melbourne, and again another uncle, right? Food was being served, and he wanted something, and he just grabs the crew. He reaches out for the crew and grabs him and says, "You know that Indian thing of, hey, meko ye de do na." And he just grabbed him, dude. And the crew lost it. He was like, "Do not touch me." He said, you cannot touch me. And I can see the disgust in his face. And I'm just like, oh God. And he has to serve me next. So no. I'm like, I'm from Pakistan. I'm not, not from just. So there's this
So this
certain.
is Qantas, right? So
This is
it's an Aussie crew.
Aussie crew, yeah. And also, this is a thing in aviation, by the way. Okay, I have friends and family in aviation.
Yeah.
International crew hate operating Indian sectors, any sectors that have Indians. And I think the problem is that a lot of the people who fly usually travel by bus. Right. For the longest time, they've been traveling by bus and or train, and the culture in a bus and a train is very different. Like you do whatever you want in train.
Even calling it culture is a bit of a stretch, but
Yeah, but you know what I mean, right? That etiquette, that travel etiquette they have, and then they get onto a plane and they think it's the same thing, dude. Like when I got off this plane, it was complete carnage. There was food all over the floor, just pieces of plastic. It's like
in this 12-hour flight.
in this 12-hour flight, and I'm like, man, come on.
Oh man.
Like, but to be fair, in India, I have noticed that people don't do that thing as much now when the plane lands and everyone's running to
it's getting better.
it's getting better. It's getting to better. Like now I notice that the crew will probably have to yell once or twice after the plane lands. Like,
As
beds out,
opposed to
beds
7
out.
times earlier.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it blows my. I always wonder, what is going on in the crew's mind. Like they have to be so polite no matter what happens. You can't lose your shit, right? You have to be like, "Sir, please sit down. Sir, please sit down. Sir, please sit down." And I know that's not what you're thinking. Like, just say it.
Yeah. They need so much therapy, dude.
Yeah.
Yes, I was on a SpiceJet recently, and SpiceJet has gone to the dogs, and people are not. I mean, it's the cheapest for a reason right now.
Yeah.
And there was one headline for which I'm sure the PR department lost their job. It said that SpiceJet flight hits turbulence. Captain announces that the travelers should start praying. This is a headline.
Captain announces that start praying. Jeez.
And I don't know if it's a prank or what.
Even in that there will be no unity, right? They'll be like, no, you pray. Let's pray to my God. Like, no, you have only one God. We have many gods. In case one is busy, right? The other one will answer our prayers. Udhar bhi.
But I had to book one. I don't know why I did it recently, and I'm sitting in the lounge. There's still time to go, but I just look down. The gate is right there.
Right.
And I'm getting a call. आप कहाँ पे हो? Time हो गया. I said अभी तो boarding time शुरू भी नहीं हुआ. बोले नहीं आ जाओ. So I go there and just me and one more guy. We get into the bus. And it's a huge fucking bus and there's no one inside. So we are both like, SpiceJet, we're kind of confused. क्या हो रहा है?
Okay.
And it takes us all around from the domestic terminal to the international terminal because they're parked somewhere in one fucking corner, which is the cheapest for them or whatever.
Right.
We go inside, the flight is full. And where the fuck these people come from? Like, where's the rest of the flight? Maybe they joined 2 flights or no, some
Right.
jolt they've done. So I'm already a little circumspect कि ये क्या flight है. Now we are sitting inside, it's raining cats and dogs and it's just not moving. आधा घंटा पौना घंटा हो गया. Now people are asking किधर है, क्या है, late हो गया, क्या हो गया. And people are getting a little angsty. Then they announce किया ना, एक दरवाजा बंद नहीं हो रहा है. फिर सबका गांड फट गया. हाँ कर लो कोई जल्दी. No hurry, please make sure it is closed.
दरवाजा बंद नहीं हो रहा है.
One of the flight doors not closing, so we call an engineer now in the rain. And this guy comes, he says, ये पहन के सब.
Was it a Boeing aircraft?
Yeah,
Dude, what is up with Boeing? Are you following the news?
Yeah, it's just fun. The door fucking just came off.
But you know why it's happening, right?
Yeah.
So basically, Boeing merged with this other American aircraft manufacturer, and their work culture is very profit oriented. They don't give a shit about safety.
How can you do that in that business?
Yeah. So apparently, I was reading up in Boeing right now, engineers don't get the same respect as the people from the corporate office.
Like they used to.
Yeah. So which is why if you see now the doors are falling off, doors are not closing, engines are stopped working.
But this is the one sector where there is no room for error.
There is no room for error, and there are only two big players.
Yeah.
So right now, it's not like, you could just shut Boeing down. You can't shut them down because that will just have a cascading effect on global aviation.
Economy. Yeah.
So they need to get their shit together, and that again will take time. So it's not going to happen overnight. So basically, all of us who are taking flights are gambling with our lives if it's a Boeing aircraft. So which is why I'm so thankful that Indigo only flies Airbus aircraft. I remember once I flew a Casa.
Yeah.
Right? I got into the flight, and I was, before the plane takes off, I was just getting bored. So I pulled out that card that has all the aircraft information, and it was an aircraft type.
You didn't have entertainment that day in flight.
No, just before the plane took
Yeah.
out. It was a Boeing 737 Max.
Yeah.
I'm like, this sounds familiar. Where have I heard about the Boeing 737 Max? And then I remember, holy shit, this is the same aircraft that has been stalling and crashing because of a software update that they did, but did not tell the airlines that they have changed a certain protocol because it would involve training.
So they purposely.
So that is why those two crashes happened with I think one was Lion Air and there's another airline. So two planes crashed, and after that, all the 737 Max aircraft were grounded, and now they're flying again.
Yeah.
So I quickly called my friend who's a pilot. I'm like, listen, I'm in a 737 Max. I'm like, is it safe to fly? Dude, it's crazy.
So in this flight now, it has taken a couple of hours, and people are getting pissed. Okay, so there are a few dudes sitting around me, like older gentlemen, and they kept calling the crew again and asking kya ho raha hai, kya, and the lady has to come and reply, and she's on the back foot now because the flight is delayed inordinately.
Right.
And every time she would go away, after talking to them, they would like high-five each other. See, I got her to talk to me, and we are still at that stage in the country.
Oh, Turkey uncles on aircraft are a different Tinder app.
Yeah.
Like,
that's how bad it is.
Like they film the crew, they'll take pictures of the crew.
Huh.
Yeah, they do that. Of course, I mean, if you get caught, they tell you to delete it and shit. But
wow, the stories they must have to tell, dude.
Yeah, dude.
I mean, your sister would be telling.
My sister's crew. I have a lot of friends who are crew, a lot of friends who are pilots. So I get a lot of juicy tea, and I'm just like, man, I can't do it.
Then the aerostewardess is telling the attendant is telling that guy कि सर बेल्ट पहन लीजिए. तो कुछ किया मतलब सर वो आपका बेल्ट है ये वाला बेल्ट. And you sort of feel bad also because they're flying for a lot of people are flying for the first time. Don't you see that almost every flight?
You can tell a first-time flyer, and I can tell a first-time flyer at security. Yeah. When we're at security, you can I can tell if somebody's flying for the first time or not just by how they handle themselves at security. First of all, I find that whole new system, the new security system that they have where the tray, you just push the tray in the front. Right? You have these pods where you stand and you push the tray in the front. Again, that is not synchronized. People are just shoving things.
Yeah.
So we don't know if am I supposed to go to the end and then put it, or just shove it from where I am, and then as you are filling the tray, people will come and yank the tray out from underneath you.
Yeah, it hits you.
They don't
also.
have the patience to wait. Like, so it's very frustrating. So there, you can tell a first time flyer because they'll forget to remove their belt, they'll forget to remove their laptop and stuff.
सिक्का आ रहा है बाहर से.
Yeah. And so I think if it's a first time flyer, I'm okay to be like, yeah, okay, chalo, it's your first time. You can't be like, okay, you can't put this here, you can't put this there. But like, sometimes do you ever lose your patience at security?
The security, I'm at my best behavior.
Yeah. Dude, I'm oddly enough, at security is when I get most worked up. And I take panga with the cops at security for some reason. See, because I know I have cleaned my bag out inside out. I know I don't have anything that I need to worry about.
Yeah.
But the one thing that really annoys me when I'm flying is when you're at security and there's like a big line and there's obviously a lot of luggage to be screened, and the cop is chilling. Like, he's just chilling, and then he'll just slowly get up, he'll go take a walk, he'll come back, and I'm just like, and then I start heckling. I start heckling the cops. Okay, I'm like, yo, boss, time, my watch in the tray, chalo jaldi dekho.
You do
I
that?
do that. I do that. I mean, obviously I don't yell, but like, I'm just like, yo, like, can we get it? And then I try to rally the rest of the crowd also. So I'll try and like get the other passengers worked up as well. I'm like, look at the time. Look at him. Is he on a holiday? What is he doing? This is not right. Is this why you are paying taxes for him to just idle around over there? Your flight, you'll miss your flight. I start bhadkaing people, and then everybody's getting worked up, and that's the only way to get them going. Then he'll finally sit down, and then he'll start the screening all over again.
Once we coming back from Dubai, me and my friend you met Raj. So we get down and suddenly we're the last people to get off the flight. And
Right.
I can't name the airline because they're not paying me anyway. So this guy comes in, he just says, "Aapka boarding pass dikhao." Diya na, he took it and he started walking ahead. Okay. And we're just following him. And he just kept fucking running. So we had to like keep up with him.
So who's this guy who took your boarding pass?
Well, from the airline.
From the airline, okay.
Yeah. And then finally we get to an end and he just says nothing. And it's clear कि यहाँ पे COVID test हो रहा है, आपको कराना पड़ेगा. I said, dude, what? We didn't sign up for this.
COVID? When was this?
Last year, March. Nothing about COVID.
COVID?
Yeah.
Now?
Yeah, just randomly. They said, no, you didn't hear the announcement. I said, no announcement was made. I'm pretty sure about it.
Okay.
No, they said you have to check. I said, I've filled up no form. I was not informed about it. I'm not going to do it. So he said, no, this is called, and they have a word for it. It's called manifested sampling. What that means is...
What airline is this?
Indigo only.
Last year?
Yeah.
So they forced you to do a COVID test?
We refused, but then we had to fight out for 1 hour with them.
Okay.
So, but you have to do it, like some manifested sampling, which means that basically we'll tell you and you have to do it.
Look, I remember there was a time where after COVID it just got done and we had to show the RT-PCR test, right, to fly, to get to fly. Yeah. So the first couple of times I did it. Okay, somebody would come to the house, but man, like the way they would do the test, right, would make your nostrils feel like they were sexually assaulted. Like it was not fun at all. It wasn't worth the pain and that. Like, it's just weird, like, random stranger says, okay, lean back and they shove something up your nose. And the tear, remember the tears? Oof.
That's when you know it's a good test. When you cry.
Yeah, when you cry, you know they're doing it right. And the worst part is I'm just like, man, I haven't even sold that many tickets for me to cry. I'm crying before I get there. So I said, eventually I was like, what, screw it. Everybody was doing this, okay? We were all photoshopping our test. Once everybody had like 2-3 test results, we were just
PDF converter,
whatever it is, just changing the dates. So I used to have multiple flights back to back, okay, and the RT-PCR test had to be done within the last 24 hours. So I would have 4 different tests that I manifested for a better choice of words. I manifested 4 different RT-PCR tests, and as I was boarding the flight, I would show them the appropriate test. So at one airport, and this was in Calcutta. At one airport, I showed the test for the day after the flight.
That's
So
really manifesting.
yeah, so the crew was like, "Sir, ये परसों का date है." And I was like, "Hey, show me." Oh, so sorry, my bad, my bad. There must be some mistake. And then I just scrolled to the left. Yeah, this is today. So even he knew. He knew that was a
Yeah,
fake test, and he
yeah.
just like, but their job was to just make sure there was a test.
Compliance.
Compliance.
Yeah,
Their job is not to verify if the test was actually conducted.
yeah.
And then then after that, it was the vaccine certificate. Man, like you would land in an airport and it'd be like another long ass queue for the vaccine certificate. It feels like a lot has happened now in the last.
Dude, we are not processed it at all. Dude. We're
We,
just going on like nothing
I
happened.
do you feel like we've just like shut out the pandemic from our memories?
Yeah, yeah. Just so happy to have it all back again
Yeah,
and having survived it. You don't
like
want to think about it. People would have lost their family members also, quite a few of
like those
them.
2 years went by
Yeah.
really, really quickly, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I was in Himachal for a fair bit of those 2 years.
I remember.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so that way it was good, but otherwise, and even
mm,
work-wise, like no business-wise, you're not recovered. Chalta hai comedy,
yeah,
not what we used to be before the pandemic. But the market has changed, no,
mm,
so drastically.
yeah,
This in this particular case, he holds us up for an hour after we gotten down from a Dubai flight, and he
mm.
just bargaining कि थोड़ा बाहर से टेस्ट कर ले बोला ऐसा थोड़ी होता है नहीं मतलब
Oh
नहीं
yeah, you have to do those tests
yeah,
after you land. You have to
yeah.
land and do a test and pay
Otherwise,
some. You pay some.
no, it's
Quite
free, but they don't let you go
those
otherwise.
rapid tests. Yeah, you have to
Yeah,
wait like a few hours and shit. Man,
yeah.
it was
So fuck
crazy.
that was, and then you look at the lab technicians, you know, they're barely qualified to be
Yeah,
holding a matchstick also.
yeah.
But then you have to go through the motions. And then when you think about it, a lot of it is just because the country is so poor, dude. Like you would think, why can't you allow people to just come into the airport? Because if you do, there'll be a crowd.
There'll be a crowd. Yeah,
Because that's was something to see.
yeah. Because in other countries, you don't need. They don't check your
Nothing.
tickets at the
Yeah.
gate. You can just walk in. You can just walk in. Like at Amsterdam airport, Schiphol, like there are cafes inside the airport. People are coming in with their dogs, having a cup of tea and chilling. And then there's a train station underneath. Somebody's catching a train to go to work and stuff.
Yeah.
But that's true. Like in India, any sort of development becomes a tourist attraction for
Yeah.
the masses. So
Yeah,
you know,
because there's too many people. You know, that way this country is lucked out. You say they have a culture of trust, but you can only build it after you kill all the natives off. So then,
that
and there are too many natives to kill back home, so we couldn't do it.
yeah, we don't. We are the natives.
We are the natives.
We are so, which is why we are so busy killing each other. Yeah, true. Like, do you have any incidents that have happened to you on a flight that made you go like, what?
Nah, I keep hearing of all these sort of all the news where somebody just fucking fought and like
Oh yeah, what's up with that?
Yeah,
At the start of the year, people were getting very angry and
Yeah,
violent
yeah.
on planes.
And I never seen one, and I travel quite a bit, and I never seen one. So I asked people in the crew sometimes whenever I could. They said, "Dude, बहुत होता है, फिर आपने देखा नहीं है और तो मतलब फिर इतना आग क्यों रहा न्यूज़ में?" बोला अभी थोड़ा बढ़ गया क्योंकि लोग फ़ोन पे डाल देते हैं और वो इंस्टा से पिकअप करता है.
Yeah,
बाकी दिस इज एवरीडे अफेयर.
but if you notice, this also tends to happen a lot at the start of the year because of the weather. So if there's weather up in the north and there's fog, all the
fog
flights
thing,
across the
yeah.
country get delayed, and then people are stuck at airports or inside aircraft. Like that one story of that guy who slapped the pilot. He was apparently stuck inside the aircraft for 12 hours. Dude.
On the tarmac.
On the tarmac.
Yeah.
12 hours inside an aircraft. Man, I want to slap somebody.
Yeah.
You know? Like who?
And it turns out the reason why all of this happened is because our system is such that once you're checked in, you can't deboard the aircraft. You have to go all the way around and
You have to go right out, no?
out, yeah, and go to the security check again.
And do a security check again. Yeah.
So then the airline can't do that because it'll just cost them too much money to get another parking bay. So, and that doesn't happen here.
It's cheaper to just make people angry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just do that. Dude, the weirdest thing happened to me at Goa airport, the new airport in Mopa. Oh, by the way, also, the standard of airports in the country has become so much better.
Yeah.
So much better.
The ones here look like shabby.
Yeah,
many
compared
of
to
them.
like, hey, yeah, you're just like, yo, you need to check out Bangalore airport, bro. Sorry, like, what is this? Yeah, so Bangalore, Hyderabad, Goa's new airport, Mopa. I mean, Calcutta's got a new terminal that looks really great. Delhi. So Full props to our Prime Minister
Yeah,
Adani for Prime Minister Adani for
yeah,
just raising the game
yeah.
as
True
far as
success
airports are
story. Yeah, he
concerned.
went
Yeah.
from coal mines to
I
airport
mean,
directly.
who says crony capitalism is bad for the country? You know what I'm saying? Look at the standard of the airports after he took over. I'm saying give him everything. Give Adani roads.
If you can
Yeah,
do it, yeah,
give him the roads. Finish, done. Like aircraft will land on those same roads.
yeah. L&T making the temples already. So
Yeah. So I was saying about this incident at the Goa airport, right? And
yeah.
it's a massive airport, Mopa. So my friend and I were traveling to
Hey,
Bombay.
Mopa sounds more Goan than Manohar Parrikar, but
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. So we were traveling and we had to check in his
Yeah.
bag, right? So I had my trolley bag, he had his trolley bag. He wanted to check his in. He didn't want to take it on board. So cool. So now they have an automated checking where you print the boarding,
Yeah.
the baggage tag, you put it
Yeah.
yourself, and you put it in, in case you felt like you didn't do enough in the day.
ये भी है just like Jetstar here ऐसा.
Yeah, you put your own baggage tag, you weigh the bag, they scan it, and it's all automated. There's no need for another person to check you in.
हाँ.
So we did that. We put his bag in, and then we went upstairs, clear security. I was sitting down at the food court, and we had something to eat. Our flight was anyways delayed, so I didn't know that the flight was delayed at the time, right? So I was like, we were waiting for the flight to board, and suddenly like a cop comes directly to me, and he's just like, सर आपने कुछ बैग छोड़ लिया क्या कहीं पे आपके पास सारे बैग्स हैं तुम्हारे एंड आई एम लाइक what do you mean? I'm like, yeah, I've got this bag here, and both of us are confused. And then it hit me that while I was checking this guy, my friend's bag in, I left my bag downstairs, and I forgot that I had the trolley bag with me, because my brain went, okay, you checked a bag in, so that must be your bag. But I checked my friend's bag in. We walked straight up, left my bag down there, and there was panic at the airport downstairs. Ki, ye kiska bag hai? It's just sitting there and it's orange in color. Yeah, like an orange bag. That's the national color of the country. So they are just like, can we touch it? Can we not touch it?
Oh man.
And then I said, shit, I completely forgot. And then he took me downstairs. And again, what you're saying is that I had to go back out,
Yeah.
get the bag. And the bag was with the cops at another scanner. So they had scanned it already and checked to make sure. But then again, I had to go up and
Again the security check again.
clear security.
Were they
again.
angry at you?
No, not really. I mean, see, so I have this policy that whenever I deal with cops, I always like smile and talk to them. Like, except when I'm waiting at security. At security, I'm like, I get wound up. Every other time, I'm very polite. I'm very humble. So I'm like, sorry, sir, galti ho gaya. I was in a rush and stuff. So then I get back, then we find out that the flight's been delayed by an hour. And then I slapped the cop after that.
So it does end well.
It does end well.
But whenever I think of the rush and all the things we discussed, there seems to be no solution. The country is too big, dude. It's like in the news recently there was marital rape again in the news where we wanted it to be recognized at least as rape, right?
Yeah.
And you've spoken about it way back
Years ago, yeah.
That fucking great video. And I still go back to it sometime. Like, fucking, how did you pull it off in those days
Yeah.
in India? And this debate keeps coming up, right, again and again. And I couldn't wrap my head around ki, of course, this happens, right? Then how do the other countries deal with it? And I asked people who would know and my friends abroad, and they said, यहाँ पे people just don't marry for sex. So it's not that big of a thing.
Wait, you mean in Australia?
Abroad.
Abroad,
Anywhere
anyway.
in the Western world.
People don't marry for sex.
Yeah.
What do they marry for then?
They like somebody. I mean, in India, a lot of marriages fucking to finally get laid, no?
Right. So what you're saying is that a lot of men who get married in India haven't gotten laid as much as you have, like before they got married, right? So that becomes like a free ticket for them to.
Yeah, and hence, so I said, of course, rape happens in marriage, even abroad must be, but the numbers are so small, it's not like a big issue. In our country, it's rampant. It's so rampant that the courts know that this is happening, but if they recognize it, the number of
What is the latest? They still haven't.
They haven't. the society is not ready to recognize this. Because so the reason I brought it up is because a lot of these problems are so systemic that there's no immediate solution. Like, like why we need security at the airports, why people act the way they do.
Yeah.
And the other point I made in that middle class video of mine as well, that only 5% of us have ever flown. That's nothing, dude. Like we are like
That's 5% of the most annoying Indians in the country.
yeah, and then the ones they do, they act like fucking
Yeah.
and they have lucked out in life, no. But
Yeah.
then the problem is that good money and good taste very often don't go together.
Yeah. True. I was talking to my friend who's a pilot, and he was telling me of an experience that he had. I think it was in Lithuania, where after the flight landed, every passenger, after they got up, right, they folded the seat belt into the same position as they found it. You know, when you arrive, you
Yeah.
get your seat, the seat belt is folded across like this.
What?
Each passenger was folding their own seat belt, and they left. So when they deplaned, the cleanup crew and housekeeping and stuff like that, they didn't have to worry about the seat belts. They were already folded. And then I asked him, like, if we did this in India, would it save us time? Like, would flights be able to turn around and fly faster? He's like, hell yeah.
Ah.
He's like, hell yeah. If every passenger just, all they had to do, you get up and just put your seatbelt the way it was when you got there, flights would take off sooner.
Oh wow.
And then the only person you would have to slap would be your partner or your child. That's it. No pilots. All right. On that note, I think this was a good session of tea. Thank you so much for
Thanks,
joining
man.
me, Punit.
Always great to be here.
Always great to hang out with comedians outside the country. Always great. Always great. But yeah, thanks so much for coming on. I hope you had fun. This was a good talk. And I hope you enjoyed watching this as well, or listening to it, whichever applies. And I'll try and get another episode out soon. I know I've been a little here and there with the episodes. I haven't been able to put one out every week, but I'm trying my best. Okay, be patient, and I'll have a new episode out soon. Right. Once again, you can follow Punit on his Instagram, which is
Punit Pania at
Punit
Instagram,
Pania,
and the same on YouTube. And we keep touring all the time.
We keep touring all the time. Yeah, so come watch a live show, guys. Come watch a live show. If you like our stuff, catch a gig in a city near you. I promise you, it's way better than watching us on screen. Yeah, way better. Yeah. But thanks so much, man.
Yeah.
I'll catch you around soon.
Yeah.
And thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. Until the next episode, this is Daniel Fernandez signing off. Take care. Goodbye.